Hello and welcome to Cancer season. If you're just tuning in for the first time to Embodied Astrology, my name is Renee. Welcome back to all my longtime listeners. I'm so happy to be here with you. Your Cancer season horoscopes are coming right up, but first I need to tell you a couple of things. 1, I have recorded horoscopes for Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and Libra seasons all together in the last week. They're going to be edited, so you'll be getting your readings as the seasons start, but I need you to know this for 2 reasons. 1, you're going to see me looking pretty much the same for the next few months. And also, I'll be expanding on some themes that are continuous across this stretch of time, which is basically from the end of June until the end of October in 2025. Also, I want to tell you that I did this because of what I see upcoming in this year's astrology. Surprise, surprise. It is a lot of change, and I wanted to create some more space for myself to get out of my comfort zone and business as usual so that I can be more responsive to some of the changes that are happening in my life, including here at Embodied Astrology. I also wanted to tell you this because it's a great time for any of us to get out of our comfort zones and business as usual. So if you've been feeling a bit restless lately, or like you're anticipating something, or maybe just that you need a change, please, 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 my friends, schedule ahead and plan to disrupt your own rhythms so that you can be available and actively participate more generously with the changes that are trying to happen, especially in the next 4 months. On that note, I have done my best to outline what I see happening in the next months and years astrologically, and I'm including a bonus reading for the collective in Cancer season in this season's offerings. This is about a 20-minute listen, and you can find it linked in the show notes or wherever you found this reading. Please listen to it. There are some messages I really want to share with you. And finally, as I mentioned a moment ago, and as you'll hear me talk about in the bonus reading, there are some changes upcoming at Embodied Astrology. Now, if you've followed my work for a while, you know that I am not here to be a brand. I'm not trying to dominate the astrology sphere or convince anyone that I have all the answers that you need. In fact, Embodied Astrology is a project that is increasingly committed to democratizing astrology and engaging with it as an emergent strategy that anyone can access as a lens for mapping time, revealing complexities, and helping us understand how we got here, what we're doing, and what the deeper potentials are in any given situation or relationship. As the challenges of living together on planet Earth intensify, human beings need truly non-binary languages that can help us bridge the gaps between our own biases and experiences. The synthesis of embodiment practice and astrological thinking is one way we can create this kind of language. At EA, this is what we're investing in. We're putting our resources towards designing and maintaining study groups where people come together to work together. We're actively fostering co-leadership and co-authorship and creating spaces where astrology can expand its potentials through application with other modalities such as conflict transformation, design thinking, urban planning, psychotherapy, and more. Everything we offer is always offered with flexible pricing and sliding scales. Unless capacity is limited, no one is ever turned away for lack of funds. And we consistently redistribute at minimum 10% of our net profits to Indigenous-led environmental protection projects and mutual aid for under-resourced communities. So this brings me to a request, which is this. If you have ever benefited from our work, if you enjoy my monthly readings, if you attend our events, or think you want to someday, please help us to continue to grow and expand our work. In the next 6 to 12 months, my personal goal is to start funding an emergent astrologer space, where the work of a diverse group of astrologically oriented practitioners from many different backgrounds can research and produce writing, art, education, and other kinds of content that is specifically focused on meeting the practical, spiritual, and relational needs of right now. I know that times are tough and budgets are tight, but if every one of our listeners donated $1 a month, we would meet 100% of our operating costs, and we'd be able to not only keep creating monthly horoscopes and regular podcasts for free and offering all of our classes and workshops at sliding scale, but we'd also be able to do so much more. As if this wasn't already an exchange, we are working on a special membership for donors of all amounts, but things like that also cost money to map out and administer, and our team is small and our resources are limited. One thing I can say is that within the next few months, we will be rolling out an ad-free content space. And for the time being, in order to support the work we're trying to grow, we are turning on ads on all of our distribution channels. I know it's annoying. I also know you know how to fast forward. But please know that we're only using them so that we can stay here. If you appreciate this work, please support it. You can sign up for a recurring donation or a one-time donation of any amount in the show notes below. You can also support our work so much by sharing it with your friends and networks and helping boost us on the algorithms by liking, subscribing, and commenting. Another great way to support this work is to purchase our products like the 2025 year ahead readings for your sun, moon, and rising signs, which are all discounted now by 25% because we're halfway through the year. And finally, one of the best ways to support us is to attend our events because most of what we do actually isn't streamed on a podcast. You can find me every Monday in my weekly virtual class on Zoom, Somatic Space, where I offer week ahead astrology forecasts and gentle adaptive movement, meditation, and visualization practices to help us make the most of the current transits. If you become a Somatic Space member, you'll also get access to our twice monthly chart reading study groups, led by my colleague Alisha Mawji, where you can learn more about your chart and astrology through conversation and connections with wonderful people who just might become wonderful friends. We also have regular workshops and events, such as what I'm calling our upcoming reunion tour, with 3 facilitators who have been enormous parts of making embodied astrology what it is: Junata Petrus, Ramon Gabrieloff-Parrish, and Sherry Taylor. Junata is a Cancerian, and she's up first for a very special Cancer season offering of soul sweetening. We'll be leading together and taking turns offering prompts to embody, contemplate, and create with Cancerian energetics and practices we've each cultivated to support us personally through big feelings, trying times, when bonds feel tender, and when uncertainties abound. If this sounds like something you want and need, it's here for you, live or recorded. No one turned away for lack of funds. Okay, thanks for hanging in with me and listening to all of this. You can find more information about everything I just mentioned in the show notes. Please find my reading for the collective for an important general message for Cancer season. And now, onto your horoscopes. Hey Leo, welcome to your Cancer season reading. You might know that Cancer is the sign that comes before yours. So for those of you Leo suns out there, we are soon approaching your birthday season. And this is a period of time that is naturally reflective and kind of oriented towards closing the last year's cycle and preparing for the next year's cycle. And for Leo risings, Leo moons, I think that this energy is also present because it's a time of culmination. And when the sun enters Cancer, Leo is supported to be more internal, reflective, quiet. And I'm going to say, like, a lot of Leos right now need to protect your own space, your energetic space, your dreaming space, your imaginative space. And a lot of Leos might also just need some space right now. And you need space to rest. You need space to just be. You need space to drift away. And I don't know, where you go when you drift, but it feels like dreaming, fantasizing, imagining, resting. This is what Cancer season is good for the Leos. Jupiter has recently entered the sign Cancer, and Jupiter will be here for an entire year from June of 2025 until June of 2026. The last time Jupiter was here was 2013, 2014, and you might want to reflect back to that time and just think about what you have learned about your own energy since then. And also think about what you have learned when it comes to your needs for family, home, connection, intimacy, relational support and security. I'm a double Leo. You might not. You might know that about me by now. And I was reflecting back to 2013 and 2014. and spent some time looking at the astrology of the last time Jupiter was in Cancer. And if you, like me, in 2013 and 2014 were not having an easy time, because I definitely was not, then I want to assure you that it is a different vibe right now. The astrology at that time was really intense water, and Saturn was in Scorpio, Neptune was in Pisces, and for all of the fire signs, but because we're talking about Leo right now, the water signs are in places in the chart that are really deep, and they are intensely psychological and energetic. And Neptune and Saturn trining Jupiter definitely gave a different vibe than the current moment. Neptune and Saturn are currently squaring Jupiter from Aries, from your fellow fire sign. So I'll talk about that in a second. But what I did want to say, and this is not going to resonate for everybody, but some of you out there are with me on this, because astrologers are out here being like, Jupiter's exalted in Cancer. Everything is great when Jupiter's in Cancer. It's just gifts everywhere. It's like the Oprah of astrology. And I was thinking about last time Jupiter was in Cancer for me was really fucking hard. And I did not feel exalted. And I made some choices in my life, particularly around home and family and relationships, that I can look back and say, I don't think those were the best choices. But this is the thing. Jupiter's energy wants us to grow and learn. And I have learned a lot from the choices I made in 2013. And I have learned a lot about myself and my needs. And now in 2025, Saturn and Neptune are in Aries, and this is a fire sign, and they are squaring Jupiter. And so I don't mean to put my experience on you, but let me know if this resonates, because oftentimes astrology tracks, and it might resonate on some level for you. The trine energy can just be like flow, 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 water into water into water. The choices that I was making at that time, I felt like I kind of just like fell into them. And they were conscious on some levels, but also, I don't know. When I reflect on it, I think I kind of felt like I didn't have much of a choice. And where I am currently is I'm really aware of my choice, and I'm really trying to make good choices for myself. And I think that for Leos, we really need to make choices for ourselves right now that are different than maybe we have made for ourselves in the past. So when we move into Cancer season, Jupiter has just come out of a square from Neptune and Saturn, and that's happened in basically like the week before Cancer season begins. And then Cancer season starts, and the Sun then squares Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and that's the first week of Cancer season. Then the Sun and Jupiter will come together. They form a conjunction every year, but because Jupiter has a 12-year orbit and spends 1 year in every sign, they'll only come together in Cancer once every 12 years. So this is the beginning of this is like the actual beginning with the Sun conjunction of this new 12-year cycle. And then the day after that, there's a new moon. And then the day after that, there's an aspect from Mars in Virgo. So let me interpret all that. Take what works, leave the rest. I feel that Leo right now really needs to lean into the tension between individuation and interdependence. Now, individuation is not the same as individualism. Individualism is some belief system that people don't need other people, right? Like the United States American ethos is very individualistic. It's like, you can do whatever you set out to do as long as you have bootstraps to do it. But we all know that's a lie, right? And that people need resources. People are absolutely unequipped to do much at all if we are not in relationship. We are very social creatures. We are actually interdependent. We are codependent. We need each other. And there's no shame in that. But interdependence is very different than enmeshment. And enmeshment is like we lose ourselves in each other. We lose our autonomy. We feel like we're completely ooey gooey in another person's energy. And, like we don't know what we want, or got to always go along with what the group wants, or, like people do this all the time in romantic relationships, right? Like they get into romantic relationships and then they completely forget about their friends and their passions and anything else. And it's just like, oh, I just want to merge with this person. So back in 2013, 2014, there was a lot of water energy. And for Leos, that was happening in the 12th, 4th, and 8th houses, which is all about enmeshment and entanglement and kind of like losing your sense of self. That's certainly what happened to me back then. Let me know in the comments if that happened for you. No pressure to be the same or anything like that, but I'll be definitely very interested to know if we're on track. But now, with Saturn and Neptune squaring Cancer, the trick is, how do we actually really care for our bonds and connections while also really caring for our own self-actualization and individuation and differentiation? We don't need to be completely enmeshed in other people. We don't need to lose ourselves in family or romantic relationships or partners. We really need to be who we are. And this is huge for Leo right now, because Saturn and Neptune coming into Aries and into the solar 9th house is all about listening to your own instinct, motivation, following the call of your own spirit and soul, and really taking up the work of your own life. And you are totally unique. Nobody else has ever been exactly like you. You have a lot of gifts to give, and you have your own life to live. And your life is, of course, going to be filled with relationships, and your relationships need tending and they need care. But your relationships also need to tend and care for you to be who you are. And so this tension between individuation and interdependence feels really important in Cancer season. And because Cancer rules the 12th house for Leo, I'm going to say that this season is one in which Leos really need to take some time and space in solitude, in quietness, in personal contemplation, because I feel like a lot of us kind of need to call our energy back a little bit so that we can orient towards how we want to grow and how we really want to be in relationship and in connection and community and family right now. And especially around the new moon on June 24th and June 25th with the Sun conjunct Jupiter on the 24th. If you can take some time for yourself, please, please, please do it. If you're a parent out there and you have like 50,000 people needing 50,000 things from you all of the time, just run away. Just run away for an hour, lock yourself in a closet, go take a drive somewhere and just like pull over on the side of the road and give yourself like 30 minutes just to you, right? Like if it feels hard to get your own space right now, and it often feels really hard for me, which is why I'm joking about it and laughing about it, because sometimes I'll like hide in the bathroom, and I'm just like, okay, I gotta get my space. So take it, however you can get it. Take some space for yourself, Leo. And especially with this new moon on the 25th, it feels so deep. It feels like Leo needs to feel their feelings and probably sleep a lot and get in touch with your spirit and your soul and some sense of imagination, and try and remember like why you're here and what you want to be here for. Now, I do really want to reiterate that we don't need to be isolationists. The work right now is to not be like so individuated that, we don't have any relationships. There's actually so much emphasis right now on being part of the collective and contributing to what is bigger than us, especially in the relational field. And the 12th house says a lot about this as well. And so I want to encourage you to meditate on what you are devoted to and what feels like your spiritual purpose and gifts, the ways that you uniquely are here to express and to give and to experience. And give yourself some time, give yourself some energy, give yourself some space to feel into like, how do you want to be giving? What do you want to be giving? To who can you give most effectively and generously? And what do you need to be giving to yourself so that what you're giving to others can be sustainable and also nourishing for everybody, including you. Alongside all of this, Mercury is entering Leo the day after the new moon on the 26th, and Mercury will be retrograde in Leo starting July 18th. And when we have planetary retrogrades, we also have another symbol of like needing to slow down, needing to be reflective, needing to take a break, take a rest, give ourselves some space and time, be contemplative, etc. Mercury doesn't station retrograde until the 18th, so it is in its pre-retrograde shadow phase from the 29th of June until the 18th of July. And I feel that a lot of Leos are in a moment of really trying to realize and embody some personal changes. We had Mars retrograde in our sign earlier this year and later last year, and Mars actually leaves Leo just a couple of days before Cancer season begins. And so in some ways, this Mercury retrograde is picking up from where the Mars retrograde left off. And I think that this is an opportunity to be introspective in certain ways about how things have been changing, particularly when it comes to how we feel ourselves in our identity and energy, desires, and needs. This retrograde shadow begins with an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius, in Leo's opposite sign and house of committed partnerships. And some Leos out there might be feeling that there need to be some renegotiations around the agreements of partnerships. And that can include spousal relationships and life partners, as well as business partners and collaborators, and even best friends, any kind of, or close friends, I should say, any kind of one-on-one dynamic that feels like there is some partnering that's happening there. And partnering can happen in so many ways. And then just on a general level, I'm going to say that Aquarius in your opposite sign is really asking you to transform how you put yourself out into the world and with other people. And there is a lot of need for Leo to become more empowered right now in a very real way. And I think that power is really misunderstood in our culture, and it's often conflated with dominance and aggression. But true power is very deeply the power of relationship, because what is more powerful than many people working together? And Aquarius is a sign of the collective and groups of people. And Aquarius as your opposite sign also implies that Leo needs to be working in some kind of ways that contribute to a larger whole or greater collective. And this is part of why Leo gets that kind of cliche about being an entertainer or wanting to be in the spotlight or something like that, is actually because Leo energy really needs to be in relationship with groups. And Leo is an energy of the heart, and it is a generous, gregarious, playful energy that wants to enliven the situation. And so a lot of what people mistake as a Leo's need for attention is actually Leonine generosity that there's just a lot that Leos have to give. This is my own example. I don't necessarily always feel so comfortable with a lot of attention, but I do have a lot to give, and I love astrology. And it makes me really happy to do readings. I just really like to do it. And I feel so fortunate that I've been able to create a job for myself doing this. And it does put me out into the public and with audiences, but that's actually not my goal. Like, my goal isn't to get attention. My goal is to give. And I'm going to bet that you, Leo, have a similar kind of feeling. And maybe you're also a Leo who gets attention, but I'm guessing that your primary goal isn't attention, it's to give what you want to give. And so this Mercury retrograde is asking us to tune in with, what are we giving? How do we want to give? What is actually true and honest and authentic in what we are giving? Because things change, and we don't always want to give the same things in the same way. And we need some space and time sometimes to let things shift and renegotiate our contracts and agreements. So Pluto in this place and Mercury's retrograde in relationship with Pluto is an opportunity to really be tuning in with your energy of output and relating, however you might be relating. That could be with the one-on-one or the mini. It can also definitely include your family, your friends, etc. But check in with yourself. What feels most enlivening right now for you to be giving? What feels sustainable? How, what, when, where? And you might need a break. You might need a timeout. Part of the reason I'm pre-recording the summer season, summer in the Northern Hemisphere, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, third quarter horoscopes, is to give myself a break. Because looking forward at astrology, I was like, ooh, I'm going to want a break then. So I'm going to preload my work so that I can take myself out of my kind of status quo schedule and allow myself some space to experiment and rest and think about things in a different way. So if that resonates for you, Leo, I hope that sometime in this retrograde from the end of June until the end of August, you can also give yourself some time out and space to reconsider, rethink, revise, rework, replenish, rejuvenate, restore, and check in with you about what and how and who is really calling you right now to be in your generosity and giving. And I'll leave it there. I do have a couple more things to say about Cancer season as we get into the month of July. The outer planets are doing some things. Neptune is stationing retrograde on July 4th. Saturn is stationing retrograde on July 12th. Again, Saturn and Neptune are both in your fellow fire sign, Aries. They are both going to go back into Pisces. They will be there for the last couple of months of the year. And then both of them will return to Aries early next year in January and February. But as they station retrograde, and then definitely as they move back into Pisces, September and October, I'll talk to you more about that then. But I do want to kind of give you a heads up that I think that a lot of Leos are feeling a call to adventure in some kind of way, that there's this feeling of like needing a new storyline, needing a new experience of something. Maybe there are certain projects that feel like personal growth. Some of you might want to go back to school. Some of you might be wanting to travel. Some of you might be wanting to realize your own potential in some new and different ways. This is so great for Saturn and Neptune coming into Aries. And certainly by next year, by early next year, I think a lot of you are going to be ready to start to really move forward in these changes. But I don't think we're quite ready. So Saturn and Neptune returning to Pisces indicates that there is a kind of period of things still needing to get like worked out, particularly when it comes to intimacies and like shared spaces, shared resources. Again, there are some things going on with partnership right now. And so it may be that whatever it is that you're wanting to do or that feels like it's calling you also requires some negotiating with people whose lives are wrapped up with yours somehow. And so again, just really being in that balance of individuation and interdependence and working with the people who you love and care about in ways that can allow everybody a kind of resourced freedom, right? And like a sense of inside of relationship, there can also still be individuals having their own lives. I feel like Leo is trying to figure this out right now. And then there also may be more personal, psychological kinds of issues coming up that need to be tended and processed in order for you to move into this next step. And I think because a lot of Leos are really trying to open up a new chapter in life and maybe be bold about it, maybe put themselves out in new ways or ask for promotions or like publish a book or, you know, do something that feels like you're trying to climb a mountain, you're trying to do a thing. And that can be nerve-wracking, you know, and like people can say all that they want to about Leos being, I don't know, like wanting the center of attention or something, but every single Leo I know is actually very sensitive, including this one. And feeling confident is not always so easy. And putting ourselves out there is not always so easy. And so I think that for some Leos, there may be a period of time later in the year that needs a little bit of internal tending and psychological process around the parts that just feel like it's hard to put yourself out there. And then the last thing I'll say about this is the world is worlding, right? And I'm recording for you on June 18th. I don't even know what's going to happen next week. The person who is in charge of the country that I happen to live in is, you know, threatening to support what could turn into World War III. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm looking at the astrology and feeling like we are living through times of revolution and chaos is the mother of invention. I think that there is a strong and growing worldwide resistance to violence and oppression. I think that there is a lot to be hopeful for. And I know that there are so many people who are working so hard to create a beautiful and just world. And I think a lot of those people are Leos, doing creative work and doing the work of, I don't know, that they do. All signs are part of the cause for sure. But the 8th house where Saturn and Neptune are returning is definitely also a place that can be emotionally intense. And Saturn and Neptune are symbols of also what's happening in the collective. And so whatever it is that you are looking at, whatever it is that you're looking at starting, the world also has to be in agreement. And timing is everything. And timing doesn't always happen in the ways that we want it to. But I will say if it's external events that feel like they are creating conditions that cannot allow you to grow or expand or travel or put yourself out in the ways that you want to, that part of the role of everybody right now, but definitely Leo with what's coming up in the Leo transits, I think the need is to be increasingly emotionally intelligent. And these transits are definitely doing that, especially for the fire signs. And Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011. Saturn has only been here since 2023. But I'm going to guess that you, Leo, in the last 3 to 14 years, have really been up-leveling your emotional intelligence and capacities, and that you have been very touched and moved and changed by grief and loss, and that in the ways that you are personally affected by everything that's happening, which of course is going to be different for every Leo, there's also something that is alchemically transforming for you that is important for whatever it is that you are doing next. And Neptune and Saturn are both energies that in very different ways care very deeply for the welfare of the world. And the ninth house is a place of teaching and leadership. And fire signs need emotional depth if they aren't going to be, just out for the attention. And again, I don't think all Leos are like that. And I think that if you've made it this far in this horoscope, that you are a Leo who is full of heart and really wants to give what you can in the ways that you uniquely can to the world at this time. And so I want to say that whatever seems to be happening as we get towards the end of Cancer season, let it be something that brings you into your depth. Let it be something that, even if it seems senseless and atrocious and not at all what you would want, even if it seems frustrating, even if it seems like it's just your insecurities, all of those examples I gave of maybe the things that could be coming up, any of them are opportunities for you to become emotionally strengthened and expand your capacity to be present for others in times that are deeply emotionally demanding. Leo is one of the most underratedly psychic signs in the zodiac, I think. Like, you don't often hear people talking about Leo as intuitive, but with the water houses in the ways that they are configured for Leo, I feel that Leo is very intuitive. And our intuition increases as we practice increasing compassion, empathy, and attunement. And these transits are asking for that from us. And part of how we do that is by attending to our own healing as well. So again, all the examples that I gave, if there are situations in relationships, if there are personal traumas or insecurities, if there is a lack of energy, if there are financial or resource things coming up, and I'm praying that the world moves on a track towards peace in Cancer season. But if that is not the case, then this is also an opportunity for Leo to really grow and extend in the heart and consider the ways that you want to be of service to what is bigger than you in the ways that you uniquely can. And so once more to finish, I'm going to say individuation and interdependence go together. You live in an interdependent, phenomenal world and environment. You are connected with everything, maybe not immediately or ways that you can directly track, but your presence has an impact, and you're going to give your best gifts by being your best self, your most authentic self. So I'll talk to you more about that in Leo season. But I feel like this is long enough for now. So I'm going to wrap up and ask you to tune in with your heart, Leo. Leo governs the heart and the spine in medical astrology, and this is your power center. So when you are in your heart and when you are in your center, you are in your essence. And whatever it is that you are doing in your life, and whatever it is that is happening in life around you, you will meet the moment the best that you can when you are centered in your heart. So let's conclude this reading together with 5 breaths, 5 for Leo, the 5th sign. And in these breaths, let's breathe in and out from our hearts, and let's imagine the sun or any other star that you'd like to imagine right at the center of the chest. And as you breathe in, that star is getting brighter and expanding. As you breathe out, that star is getting stronger. As you breathe in, the radiance of the star is drawing into its center. As you breathe out, that radiance is being shared in all directions. As you breathe in, luminosity fills the space around you. As you breathe out, luminosity fills the space inside you. 2 more breaths, breathing in, breathing out, with the stars at the center of your breath. Leo, it's your love, it's your optimism, and your connection to the radiance of the stars and the sun that are your birthright and the gifts that you give. So please trust in them, please believe in them, please give gratitude to your big lion heart and spread that light around, Leo. The world needs it. And take some time for yourself to tend that fire because you need it too. I'm wishing you all the best in Cancer season and beyond. Bye for now. Thanks so much for tuning in with me, y'all. If this message feels supportive for you, please help support me by liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing this work with your friends and networks. Check the show notes for other ways to support the work at Embodied Astrology, including getting your 2025 year ahead readings, which are now 25% discounted, or coming to the Cancer Season Workshop, which I'll be co-facilitating with the one and only Janata Petras, or attend one of my weekly classes or the bi-monthly chart reading study groups with Alisha, or become a sustaining donor. There are so many ways to support this work and so many ways this work wants to support you. All that information and more in the show notes. I'm wishing you all the best in Cancer season and beyond.